Thank you for staying with us. Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, says the January the 31st deadline fixed for the return of old 200 Naira, 500 Naira and 1,000 Naira banknotes will not be extended. Mr. Emefiele made this declaration in reaction to calls by members of the National Assembly for the deadline to be extended. The Green and Red Chambers are asking for a 6-month extension to allow for proper circulation of the new notes. The House of Representatives have set up an ad hoc committee to meet managing directors of commercial banks over scarcity of the new notes. They also called on President Muhammadu Buhari to intervene in the matter. Well, we have in the studio Chairman, Ikeja District Society of ICANN, Olusegun Okwade. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Veronica, and good morning, Chief Mike.
Good to see you.
Not too late to say a compliment of the season.
Exactly.
This is the first time I'm coming this year.
Right. Now, CBN is insisting that it has given Nigerians enough time, 100 days, to swap whatever the old notes with the redesigned notes. But the National Assembly is saying, no, there might be chaos. And, you know, Nigerians, we like last minute chaos, okay, to do fire brigade approach and all of it. But how do you see what is going on now? What are your impression of this is, because there are those who are saying perhaps this is a way of the CBN subtly, you know, pushing us into the cashless society matters and all of that.
Yeah, I'll look at it from two perspectives. And let me start from this context. When you see two arms of government, you know, trading words like this, it reminds me when they say when two elephants are fighting, the grass suffers. So it's the masses. And you ask yourself the question, the first arm, who are you working for? The second arm, why are you there? If you are there for the masses, the first thing you should do, maybe if I come from the perspective of a private guy, we meet at the board, we disagree, but we look at the long term and agree at a position that will go and meet with our customers or whosoever we are working with. Not that we'll have this unity among ourselves and we'll come and betray ego. With what we are saying here, the CBN seems to be having the backing of the commander-in-chief, which is the president.
Yes.
And the legislator are trying to muzzle their own and say, well, we are an arm of the government. The executive alone cannot take decision for Nigerians. We are out to protect our people. But these are things I feel, personally, should have been settled in-house. Bring out the facts, why you feel this extension is real, and let the other arm say, okay, this is the reason why we are insisting, and agree at a common ground. Without we, the masses, knowing the reason why you are struggling. It baffles me when I read on the dailies war between the legislators and the executive. Then you've forgotten the people that you are there to serve are going to bear the brunt. If this continue without being settled amicably and having a reason, either for extension of sticking at the deadline, it is you and I that will suffer it. But let's leave that aside. We've seen a lot of this played out among every arm. I'm sure you know it's in the public domain. When the handler of the fiscal policy, that's the Ministry of Finance, contesting even on this issue of redesigning, that when she was called upon and she came up to say, I'm just hearing the news the same way you are hearing, the same way you read on the social media, that I'm not carried along. And I asked myself the question, we have a president that is soft-hearted. I expected that by now, such person should be out of seat. Why am I saying that? Why will a policy like that come out? Even if you are not carried along, for reason best known within them, you should have understanding that the CBN governor who manage the monetary policy will not go ahead to carry out that without the backing of the president, who is the CEO. So it brings to bear the disunity among the handlers of our economy, which is affecting us seriously. Because if the owner of the fiscal policy do not have idea of what the monetary policy handlers are doing, and you're supposed to synergize, what comes out of it? You are working in a different direction, I'm working in a different direction. At what point are we going to meet? And who bear the brunt is still the masses. So for me, I think we should talk objectively. Should we extend? Yes. Should we not extend? No. I have carried out my personal research. I've been working on it since I know most of the time I have one or two stations that give analysis to. Since CBN said it will be sanctioning the banks for dispensing out old currency, I'm on the national TV. What I've seen in the last 1 week since Monday is that most ATM are not dispensing.
Yes.
They are not dispensing.
It was even on the headlines this morning.
So I've since Monday, because I told even my staff, now that we have this, please don't bring me, when I send you to pick ATM, don't bring me old currency, I won't collect. It becomes your money, and I'll debit your salary. So they are very careful. But now they now said, oh God, we don't even see. When we get to ATM, it's not dispensing. Should we get POS for you? I said, is the POS person giving you new currency? So number one, we need to address the issue. CBN is saying the deadline is so time. Have you taken out time to monitor the supply that we're giving to banks and how they are dispensing this money?
They went to some of the states to monitor how it is being dispensed.
What the result looks like.
And they were satisfied from the states they went to, from the report we got. From
I can tell you, Vero, if you pick up Lagos, for example, we have so many banks around you here.
Yeah.
I'm on national TV. I've stopped by at a bank very close to you. I won't mention the names. To first confirm, can I even get 5,000? The 3 ATMs at that point, it's not dispensing.
Yeah.
This money as early as 7:05. So if you're saying that you are satisfied, this location where we are is more or less central. What becomes of people that stays in outskirts of Lagos, like Bega, Opik? That's where my office resides, and I know several ATMs there that are not dispensing. What will you talk about Agbara? What will you talk about in that most of Ikorodu? But I can tell you, if you go out now to go to Ikeja, as a matter of fact, I used an ATM on Sunday at Maryland of the same bank that I tried to use this morning. It dispensed out new currency just on Sunday. So you discover that there are areas that the banks themselves knows that the CBN people will visit. Trust Nigeria. We know they carry last. You would definitely meet those things. So
invariably, you are saying that the commercial banks are culpable somewhere.
Both the commercial bank and CBN seems to be having, let me say, what I will call connivance to punish us, the Nigerians, because we will not see what is not there. If I've gotten to the bank this morning to have cash to myself, and I'm not getting, what excuse have you got to? We know that ATM is to work 24/7. The other bank next to it, same applicable on the same CMD road. And I'm sure you have majority of the commercial banks here.
Yeah.
If they are doing that, maybe after leaving this place, I will definitely put a call through. Maybe they will now say, see, somebody has gone to the ear to open us up. Can we quickly load the small that we have? And people will take it. But at 7 a.m., when people are rushing to office to even get 1 or 2 cash for themselves, the 3 ATMs, 4 ATMs that at that point were not dispensing. So we must go with facts to let CBN know that, give us statistics. Maybe they will develop an app for us and let us just log in and say, okay, we visited here, this bank is dispensing, that one is dispensing. Then individuals can know that, okay, reports if some of these things are. This is why we are saying technology must drive so many things we are doing in this country. By now, I expected the CBN to have a reporting portal where I can, as I'm coming in this morning, pushing something, and we have individuals that are monitoring it to give response to say, I visited this. I may not be able to talk on the public TV to mention bank name, but there I can specify, put the time. I don't even need to put the time. Is GPS picked up? I should be able to, as I'm logging in, you're able to pick my coordinates, you're able to pick the time of my reporting, and you'll be able to push it to the managing director. We've observed that the report we had in the last 3 days from these particular areas reveals that your ATM is either dispensing the old notes or dispensing or not dispensing at all. And with that, we have data to play around with. I think that is area we should be speaking from. And if you look from the perspective of CBN insisting that there is no going back, they have their reason for it. They said, well, on our own part, we have given enough time, of which let me give kudos to them. They asked the bank to work extended hours, aside the normal time, close by 6, come on Saturdays. These have not yielded. Veros, you said something while you're giving your intro. Nigerians like last-minute rush.
Yes.
I remember the NIMC, when we were trying to do those things. They said the thing will close tomorrow. It is then a day too. People started rushing. I can assure you, you know what baffles me, Oga Mike? There's a particular bank, I can mention that one's name. It's no longer in circulation. Oshonik. You know they've consolidated. Yeah. But do you know, to my dismay, I got a pack of 200 Naira, mint old notes. I keep asking myself, it's been a while I saw mint of 200 Naira because it's scarce outside. But now I see mint of 200 Naira denomination. And the pack that was given to me was Oshonik Bank. Wow. And I asked myself, when was the last time Oshonik operated as? So that is part of the money certain individuals has actually warehoused in their stock and are trying to push out because of the time we're talking about. I think both parties needs to go back to the drawing board. Let's give CBN, anytime we want to bring out policy, we've said it, develop a tech-based area where we can make report, a feedback as the people that you're actually fighting for, then we can use that to juxtapose. Data don't lie. If you have the data that is generic, that I can report, you verify it. If I'm at a particular place and the GPS is telling me it's there at a particular time, if 4 or 5 people are reporting the same thing, definitely you know there is confirmation that that thing is. So it's either the bank manager for that branch is being penalized if the headquarter has actually disbursed the new currency to them and they are not loading it. Then you ask question. Another thing that marvels me is that you see this currency at party.
Tough.
Much more than you see at
I mentioned it yesterday here. I mentioned it here yesterday.
I was at a party. I invited someone as if I wanted to buy. And I was holding a pack of 200. The guy held 1,000, not one pack, the bundle of like 20 in it, of 1,000, 500, 200. And I said, is this the new currency? I pretended as it. He said, yes. And you can imagine the commission that they are charging for you to. And I asked myself the question, if I'm going to give the celebrant this mint, what difference does it make from the old the old note that I need to pay extra cost to get that done? So you ask yourself, where are you getting this thing from that the normal people on the streets are not getting the money?
Difficult to get.
So it's a question that we need to ask. And it's because most of the time when issues happen, we don't punish people that actually cause the problem. So you go away with it. If I'm the bank managing director, that my bank is not dispensing out the money and is giving it to those guys that are using it at the party, nobody penalizes me. CBN should go right away. Digitalize it. When you are bringing out your policy, give us a website, give us an app where individuals, let's even leave those that you are saying are not well tech savvy. Let those people that are tech savvy give you an up-to-date, objective report, and you can take your decision from it.
Well, what do you make of this call by the National Assembly for CBN to extend the date? Because as it is right now, there could be crisis. By the 31st, if CBN keeps insisting and the National Assembly is saying, no, you have to reschedule this. Of course, we are seeing already, like you said, ATM machines are not dispensing. The ones that are dispensing, a lot of them still dispensing the old cash. Of course, we've seen the new ones here and there. But what kind of scenario are you looking at?
Sincerely speaking, I can say for free there will be crisis. But the way both parties are handling the issue, I don't think is the best way to go. You don't come openly to attack one another. If you have the the heart of the citizen that you claimed you are there to represent. This is what you can call yourself in and like CBN governor. This is what we have observed. It's not a show of power. What both parties are doing is show of power. Okay, you are the legislator. You think all the time you can have your way? No, it's my office. I'm the CBN governor. And I have the backing of my boss, who is the president. So go to hell, do whatever you want to do. That is what we are saying here. But I think it's something that maybe the Senate president, the Speaker of the House of Rep, will call the president. Sir, we understand that one of your guys that reports to you is making up this. These are our position. I'm sure if the president called the CBN to order, he won't say no. And you know the way it runs. If your GM in this office gives an instruction to you and it's affecting your subordinate down below, you've argued it out and you feel that well, the Oga has spoken, you carry it out. You don't mind the way that your subordinate will feel. Because firstly, you need to protect your pot of soup. Because you will not say, no, madam, I'm refusing your order. You know, this will not favor my guy. Okay, if you won't favor you, we'll kick you out. So firstly, every individual wants to protect their pot of soup. And that's what the CBN, because he has the backing. So I feel rather than trading wars, since the senators and the House of Rep have their fact, they should engage the superior. Mr. President, this is our position. And this is what we want from you. Okay? You cannot go with 6 months. Can we have a filler of extending it by 2 weeks? Can we have your reason why you feel you don't want to extend? They will definitely have reason with one another. The president might have his reason for doing that, and which you might consider to be very viable. Or you might both discuss and say, sir, what you said is right. We understand that plight. But we are looking at it from another perspective. So rather than trading words, I feel both parties should look at way the Senate president and the Speaker of the House of Rep, who represent the National Assembly, should engage the president and give reason, facts based, that would definitely make the president to see reason. I'm already seeing impending issue. Like you said, I think CBN is tactically forcing everybody. Because I was at the salon yesterday, and for the first time I saw my barber bringing out POS. I wanted to give him cash. He said, sir, don't worry, I don't take cash again. I said, why? I said, when they bring out currency, you can't return. And it's unjust for you to first ask, are you giving me new currency or old currency?
Yeah.
He said, so my idea is when you come, you barb. So when you dip your hand inside your pocket to give me old currency, I said, no worries, sir. In fact, he pasted it boldly. No cash transaction for now. Use POS or do a transfer. People are already adjusting to it. And I said, wow. He said, yes, I had to quickly rush to go and get a POS. That, do you know, it's not another source of income for me. So I will not only be collecting POS from people, I will now be doing POS business again, in addition to my barbing work. I said, that's creativity. So technically, I think CBN is forcing us to that area, but at the same time, they should bring to bear reality that we are saying. But on the part of the National Assembly, we should have minimal of this war that we are exchanging. Let the high and mighty sit down on a round table. Both parties consider the reason why you feel 31st is where you are taking at, and you, why you feel there is reason for extension. And let the average masses you claimed you are representing have a relief of the burden. It's really, as we speak, it's really not smiling on those people that carry out cash-based businesses.
Yes.
Because everybody is practically saying by Sunday, if you bring old cash, I won't collect. Take to the bank. So I'm expecting a surge on Monday at the bank.
In fact, yesterday, the old notes I had to quickly use them in the market yesterday because I knew leading up to Monday, it's going to be a rush. And some persons, in fact, we had a story where a family rejected a bride price.
Of
because
course.
It was
Old notes.
Yeah.
Of course. Where do you want to keep
some
it?
Kekana peps are already rejecting.
Okadas are rejecting.
They are rejecting.
Commercial buses are rejecting.
As much as possible, you need to use it as quickly as possible.
Maybe the commercial bus will start using POS to collect it.
Yeah, because they are saying the CBN has said that from the 1st of February, the old notes are no longer illegal tender. They went to the markets some days ago. They are talking about the CBN. They went to the markets in Kaduna and some states just to encourage people to, take their monies, the old notes, back to the bank. And I'm wondering if the timing for which they are doing all of this sensitization, it seems they also are doing the fire brigade approach to make people...
Let me interject. I saw some of those things on the national TV, and I felt disappointed. A week to the end of the program. I expected such sensitization to have started.
Since last year?
Since last year, December. I saw them in Kwara, I saw them in Kaduna. I said, who are you deceiving? Why are you coming out a week to the end of it? That most people, some people are not even aware of that. It's only with the elites that are on social media that you are promoting those differences to. You should go to what they are doing few weeks, a week, don't let me say few weeks, a week to the closure of the deadline. It's what they should have started since last year, December, when everybody was sharing the money during Christmas time, to let them know that this money you are collecting, let's see how we minimize it, push it back. I learned instances where they are taking, the exchange to the market, and they will go with the new currency. You will come, they will ask you that, okay, how much are you lodging? 100,000. Okay, lodge 100,000 into your account. We'll give you 10,000 out of it, so that you can have little cash on your part to move on. These are things we've expected the CBN to have carried out since last year, not coming in a week. So they themselves have opened up the reason why I feel that there is need for an extension. But I will not be a party to 6 months. Nigeria likes this with, do you know one thing? If left for me, I feel we should stick to 31st. For the first time, let's break the jinx of saying several individuals are actually saying it that don't mind them. They were Nigeria. They were still like 3-4 times before they close the state. And let it be the first time that we'll break that shock to say we give a policy and we are adhering to it. Right. It is only in Nigeria you have about African time. You give somebody an appointment and say that program will start by 10. Say don't mind them. Now 11:30 then go start. So let me stay back and do. But we've seen instances, at least with the advent of COVID, people now go on online programs. So when the program is to start by 10, those to connect online are there. So if you don't start by 10, they kick out of the program. If the people that are to be there physically are not there, they should. So I think it's high time when government gives deadline, let them do their part and for once stick to it. But the terror that we have outside shows that there might be likelihood of we extending this thing because CBN started late of creating the sensitization.
All right, let's quickly go on a commercial break. When we return, we'll continue the conversation. Stay with us. All right, thank you for staying with us. We've been looking at the recent matter between the CBN and the National Assembly. The National Assembly insisting on an extension for about 6 months. That's July the 31st. And the CBN insisting that January the 31st is the deadline for the redesigned Naira notes and the old notes to become to be a legal tender in Nigeria. But then there are those, Sheson, who have said that this matter is more political than what it is that the CBN is giving to us, talking about addressing matter of insecurity and stuff. In fact, the CBN governor said that there seems to have been a reduction in kidnapping and demanding of ransom since the redesigning of the Naira notes. But then what do you say to this matter of it being more political than it is? A matter of security.
Veronica, is there anything you discuss in this country that is not politicized? Practically everything. Even the water we drink, they're almost converting it to being political. Whichever way you want to go about it, CBN came out with the reason for the redesigning to actually check the activities of the bandits, movement of cash, and all the sort. And by their own statistics that they gave, they said this has actually minimized the rate at which ransom are actually being moved from one person to the other. But if I may ask, one of the reasons also that several analysts, of which I too have alluded to, is that Buhari said he wants to minimize the aspect of vote buying. And if you look at it, that's more political than the economical gain that we'll get from this particular thing. He said, and I quote, that one of his legacy that he intends to leave is to have a free and fair election that is a credible election that is devoid of vote buying. And if you want to stick to that, I'm sure you won't see President changing his position, saying that I will make that currency difficult for anybody to get, so that the real people that needs it, maybe we have access to it. But the problem there is that the common man that needs the currency won't get it. It's the big boys. Even when they don't ask, the bank manager calls, sir, we have 1 million. They just brought it. I don't know if you will need that particular one. That's the way Nigeria operates. No apology to that.
So at the end of the day, it's not addressing the vote buying matter.
The vote buying that you're saying. Because I have said it times to that number. How many people do you punish as a regulator for defiling your orders? Most of the times we don't. We just see on the papers, we penalize you 10 billion, we are deducting it from your reserve. No. Some people must go home. Some people, you must get home and they say, why did they fire you? I actually moved against the policy of my regulator. Until when we start saying that, when you know the monetary penalty that you are attaching to this, who pays it? Is it not from the profit that they make from you and I? Is it from his own money? And that's why the guy will feel that, let me flout the law, nothing will happen, the bank will pay. And when the bank pays, the bank will not pay from his salary. Neither will they pay from the salary of the staff. They will pay from the profit. What it will do is only to reduce the bottom line of their profitability. But if we have instances where you see failures and you are able to nip it on the bud and say, we've actually given this order, we are not going to give you a financial penalty. Like we always say, if you even pick individual, can we have community service? Where we will video you and we see you sweeping the road. Although a friend says, with the social media, somebody will convert it to a joke and say, see, I'm serving my father's land, sweeping for you. Nigerians, we are quite interested. So we'll do something for them. We'll take it to the comic side. And you use that to like, no, this is not punishment. Oh. I didn't do my NYSC. Now I decided to serve the common man.
I love my country.
I love my country and I decided to sweep the road for them. I decided to be the gate man at an entrance. But I feel that until we start putting the stiff punishment beyond financial penalty, saying that we'll sanction you 10 billion, we'll sanction you 10 million, let individuals suffer that. Because left for me, whatever penalty you are giving to any financial institution is just from their endpoint, which is their profitability. It's not affecting the employee who has defaulted. It's more or less affecting even the common man. Because that profitability that you have reduced, certain percentage of it, statutorily, is supposed to go back to the populace via SME. But what you have done is that you have reduced it with the sanction, and the man perpetrating that thing is still there, doing what he's supposed to do.
But Nigeria is not the only country that is redesigning its currency. But we know that the circumstances for each country could be different.
Yeah.
But right now, we have a situation where majority of those who transact are people at that level, where some of them don't even have a bank account, they don't have all of this facility. So tell us the ideal situation. If Nigeria were to create a situation where this would have been more seamless, what would it look like, considering the infrastructure that need to be on ground, the backbone and enlightenment and stuff?
Yeah, this administration have credited themselves to be infrastructure government, and they've tried their best in the little way that they can. But I think more needs to be done in the aspect of telecoms if the financial institution must succeed. Majority of the products of the financial institution rides on the telcos. If the internet is not there, it's pretty difficult for you to do any bank transfer via your mobile app, web app, whatever you want to call it. And there is USSD that you say you don't need an internet. Who provides the USSD? It's the telcos. If you decide to send a text message and it fails, who bear the cost? Who bear the brunt? So I feel more consideration should be given to the telecoms in such a way that they can improve their infrastructure to increase the internet base on which financial institution will ride. But we see so many things countering it. The cost of operation for some of these telcos is really not bearable. There's no power supply for several of them. They had to go to alternative power supply, which is capital intensive. Otherwise, if we have the telcos functioning well, the cost of data will go down. You will be encouraged to carry out certain transactions, and the failure rates will minimize. I think the last time I was here, December, I heard Vero complaining of a failed transaction that took her more than 14 days. How do you want to manage someone like me who minimum wage, the small money I have, the last credit was 10,000 and I needed to credit someone with 7,000 and the transaction failed. And you're asking me to wait for another 14 days. Yeah. I will bring down your bank. Oh. You must do something immediately. Because one, to the other party that I'm transferring to, there is lack of trust. The person might not want to transact business. He might even think that I don't have the money. I'm only, like our street language, a boboing him, just giving him fake information. Meanwhile, I have the cash there, did the transaction, but because of the poor infrastructure, there is failure. So we have a situation where the government needs to look at certain parameters that support the financial transaction and aid them. We've had about 5G coming to play to assist you. How many of it have we rolled out? How many people have attested to the workability of this, aiding the fast transaction that we need to carry out in the bank? We are not hearing anything. So you discover that there is serious communication gap. And we must look at what are the areas that support it. If you are able to teach, you see, I keep telling individuals, don't think because you've gone to the four wall of school, you are educated. That mama in the market at Okeani that did not enter the four wall of school, how does he sell his market?
Iyaloja.
Iyaloja will tell you, mommy, Apo Marun. When he calls that Apo Marun, which is 100 naira or 1,000, the woman knows when you give her the currency, what 1,000 looks like. He knows the number of 10 naira that should make 1,000. He knows the number of 50 naira. And you are saying the woman is an illiterate. Have you gone to buy market and you give, instead of paying them 20,000, you give the woman 15,000 and he asks you to be going? It's not possible. So you discover that inherent inside of us is that knowledge base. All you need is an individual putting you through. And if you take some of this technology we're talking about, USSD, POS, and the likes, to some of these market women, if you are able to show to them and build the trust, the problem we are having here is lack of trust and confidence in some of the things the financial institutions are actually pushing out. They don't have the confidence in it. How do you want to tell me that a failed transaction will take 14 days? What is the rationale behind it? Does that mean that the next 14 days, as a businessman, assuming that I transact about 100,000 and that fail, the next 14 days, I'm not going to carry out my business? It will impact on me. So we should look at ways to see how we bring some of those things into the nitty-gritty of the people. Those, as far as I'm concerned, I keep telling the individual, there are no illiterates the way we call it. What they need is that, mommy, this is how it works.
To trust you.
When they have confidence in you as a young marketer or a banker, and they see it works the first time, they say, oh man, Shishe, it's working. It's working. They try the second day. They can see the money in their account. There is no failure. It's working. They will be the one to be the preacher.
Yes.
Of some of those things,
the drivers
that you are asking them. But situation where today, POS, no internet, is not having, is failing.
We need to quickly go on a commercial break. When we return, we'll continue our conversation. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. We're still looking at the matter of the extension of the redesigned Naira notes or out, still using the old notes as a legal tender in Nigeria, if it should be extended or not. Though the central bank is insisting that January the 31st is the deadline, but the National Assembly is just insisting there needs to be an extension. We have joining us via Zoom Olusegun Eleme, a policy analyst, to speak to this. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Now, should there be an extension of this policy by the central bank? Because the CBN says it has given Nigeria enough time, over 90 days, to addressing this matter, exchanging the old notes for the new ones. But the National Assembly is saying that there seems to be, there might be a crisis if there is no extension.
Well, certainly, I think it's not a question, or it's not, the point is not that there might be a crisis. I think we already have a crisis on our hands. Yes, the CBN provided a 90-day window for this policy to, I mean, I don't want to use mature, but for the policy to formulate itself within the system. But I mean, you and I will attest to the fact that, I mean, you've not been able to access the new notes, whether within the banking hall or at the automated teller machine points. I think the logistics problem. I think there's a logistics problem with the Apex Bank distributing the new notes, and I, for one, as an observer and as a public finance analyst, there's no point rushing a policy that now appears to be chaotic. And I think that's the point that the National Assembly is making. You will understand better when you leave the headquarters of the CBN and you come on the street and you see how Nigerians are responding to some of these issues. The public transporters, the artisans, the traders, they're responding very negatively to the fact that people have not been able to come forward with whether trading, purchases, and all that with the new notes, and it's creating some apprehensive, circumstances within the system, which shouldn't be. Ordinarily, if you're going to drive this kind of policy, you would expect that if you're going to provide a 90-day window, a window that is as short as that, then you would expect that the logistics, issues have all been sorted out. So I think that's the point that the National Assembly is making. I think that's the point that the National Assembly is making, and it will be important. It will be important for the CBN to look at it and see what can be done. I would suggest that you give perhaps maybe another 90-day window, so that there will be a proper the logistics crisis will be gotten over, and people can have access to it, and then can withdraw the old note from the system. Other countries are of course implementing similar policies, and it is not it is not only Nigeria that is implementing this kind of policy, and you would see that even in other environments there is enough time for the system to organize itself around a new policy like this. But the CBN is rushing things, and they need to actually review as National Assembly is proposing.
All right, Olusegun, let me stay with you on this. Of course, I see that there is a short video of the president talking about this going viral right now, when he was saying that there is no going back on this issue of the Naira design, and there will be no extension of time. He, in that video, said that October to this period of time is adequate. But make us understand, October, November, December, January is about 4 months. Isn't that an adequate time for anyone, whether there are trailer loads or a vault load of cash, for anybody to change? Isn't that an adequate time for anyone to make the changes?
You see, if you have a system where your logistics, components are in place and optimal, then a 90-day window, or perhaps like CBN is saying, maybe 100 days, will be sufficient. But you and I know that we have logistics problem in this country. Look at, for instance, petroleum products. The scarcity we're facing right now, some people are attributing to logistics issues, even though there are many dimensions to that. But with the fact that the CBN is not in charge of, handing down these new notes to Nigerians, they will depend on the DMBs, the deposit money banks, to be able to distribute these new notes. And I've been to the ATM a couple of times, whether in the Federal Capital or at Subnational, in different states. Yes. Yesterday I was in Ekiti. On Monday we were in Ondo State. 2 weeks ago I was in Abuja. Today I'm in Ibadan. I can't access the new notes. I can't in all of these places. I can't. So I think that's the issue. That's the issue that is being faced right now. And perhaps maybe there's a deliberate attempt to sabotage the effort. I don't know about that. But I know certainly that politicians don't control the deposit money banks. And if the DMBs are not making the money available, then we should ask the CBN, what is the problem? And the DMBs are saying that the reason the monies are not available at ATM points is also because they don't have it. So where are the monies? The monies that were printed, where are they? Who is holding them down? I think that's the question that the CBN governor needs to answer. And if he can answer that convincingly, which I don't think he can, because the evidence on the ground suggests, contrary. So I think that he should then, take, the humble pie and review the timeline. And if you ask me really, why are we in a rush? Yes, I understand the urgency to address insecurity and to ensure that you don't make liquid available to criminals. But then, this is a policy that you could have started implementing as far back as January 2022, knowing fully well that we have elections in 2023. So I think these are the issues. Certainly, I know politicians have their own understanding of the issues. But for me, as a finance analyst, I'm looking at it because it's going to distort the trading system in the country when people cannot have, you say you should be able to access, Nigerians should be able to access 20,000 naira a day, but the monies are not available. The new notes are, and you want to withdraw the old notes. So it's really going to impact on trading, especially, the petty traders. Is really going to impact heavily on them. And I don't think we should burden them with, additional problems with what we're facing with, insecurity, the energy crisis, and all of the issues that we're faced with right now. I think there's a way we can have a common ground. Let the elections go smoothly. Let there be a smooth transition between the old notes and the new notes. And then you can do a gradual withdrawal of the old notes. And then you can extend, the timeline so that, there will be soft landing for all stakeholders. And CBN really, as, regulator, doesn't really have to be in a rush.
The CBN has said that it has made cash readily available. It went to some states to check, how the commercial banks are dispensing these new notes. And it said they were satisfied with the operations, how the commercial banks were dispensing the cash. And so they said they did not have any issues. In fact, they also went to the markets to create some level of awareness. So I believe that is where the CBN governor is standing on his insistence that, everything has been made readily available to commercial banks. So when you are talking about logistics, what exactly are we saying here? Because the same questions you raised is the same question the Speaker of the House of Representatives is asking, that someone is not telling the truth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If the CBN says that it has gone sampling around, what is the size of the sample? No, what is the size of the sample? We have 774 local governments in this country. How many local governments did the CBN governor or his team visit to check the efficiency of his policy and how boots on the ground are driving it? Today, I'm in as I speak with you, I'm in Bodija in Ibadan, Oyo State. Over the weekend, I checked around the ATMs around. None of the ATMs, they weren't even dispensing whether the old notes or the new notes. It's as bad as that. And because I can easily resort to electronic transaction, I don't know how many Nigerians can resort to that. But even the street guys who are providing petty cash to people as alternative to using the ATMs, the POS operators, they are not even making the liquid available anymore because they are also saying that they can access the new notes from the bank. So I wonder what the CBN governor is referring to as his sampling size of checking the implementation of this policy. I don't think the experience we have on the ground today reflects the situation that the CBN governor is painting, and it will be really, it will be good for the Apex Bank to have a rethink on going forward with this 31st January deadline.
So do you think this is a way of easing us into the cashless policy that the CBN has been mouthing over time?
You see, we didn't start to implement cashless policy today, and it certainly cannot be a one-off effort. It's going to be gradual. It has to be gradual. The approach that the Apex Bank is now deploying now seems to be a desperate one, and that's the point. That's the point. I think that's the point politicians are also making. We didn't start with this current CBN government to implement cashless policy. It's been gradual. Over the last few years, I know for one that the amount of cash I've had to move around with have reduced, drastically, and it continues to reduce on a daily basis. Even as the banking system continues to ease electronic transactions for Nigerians. I think that's a problem. That we're faced with. I'll give you an example. Just this last week, I've had to, buy airtime twice from using my banking, platform. And you will be shocked at the two occasions that I tried to, purchase airtime using my, mobile banking platform. I got debited and I didn't get the airtime. It has taken about 7 days for the banks now, the two banks, to reverse these transactions. How many Nigerians can endure that? Many people still want to have their cash, move it around, no matter how little. And these people that will be most impacted, who are the most vulnerable in this policy implementation process, are the petty traders, the people who are low on the ladder. They don't need more than 5,000, 10,000 every day. I think the CBN should have a rethink. I'm not speaking for the politicians, but I think that there is a window to rethink this policy and to ensure that we don't, the policy itself don't impact negatively, on Nigerians and don't further create additional problems, for the people.
All right. Let me bring the conversation back to the studio. So as it is right now, we see that we cannot take politics out of this whole mix right now. Now, do you envisage a situation where whoever wins the presidential election gets into power, because now as we're seeing that there's going to be crisis already, gets into office, and then seeing the persistent challenge, decides to reverse this Naira redesign?
I doubt if we'll get to that level of reversing the policy of the redesigning of the currency, because there are so many things attached to it. The cost implication of printing this new design and the likes. You won't want to revert to the old one. But the truth of the matter is, Mike, this is personal. I always hear a politician as same of the same. And why do I say this? There is no what we call performance appraisal index, the way they rate you and I, and we have opportunity to fire at any point in time. We don't have it for our politician, either the legislator, the executive, the governor, the president. I was sharing with someone that in developed country, you come in with a lot of promises, you get in, and within few days, you understand that this cannot be fulfilled, you jet out. We saw that release trust, saying that, I'm sorry, I can't make this happen.
In fact, Jacinda Ardern of New Zealand, after the success stories through the COVID and all of that, she is now coming to say, well, I have to step down. I don't think I have the steam.
So move on.
After all the things you've done?
You know, in Nigeria, even when it's not working, we say, Yoruba will say, "Ufoliti." They will be using the head to push it. Because, and why do we say this? Most of the time, things that are associated with some of these political office makes you feel that it will work. And because people won't ask questions, several people that have been asking questions based on the promises given in 2015, how many answers have we gotten? It's just like the more you look, the less you see. So this, to me, new administration coming on board, irrespective of whether it's the APC, PDP, Labour, NNPC, name the party, you discover that until we have a system and an institution that checked the activities of individuals, we are going nowhere. We are not building a system. That's the problem we are faced with. I'm sure you know if Americans do not have a system, Trump would have finished them. But there's a system that checks its SSs anytime, not even their House of Congress or there's a system that puts you to check that these are things that we have actually put in place. You abuse it, will get you out of office. And you have a rethink. So until we fix the system and have strong institutions that can check individuals, what do? The young generation will tell you, okay, you have some promises you're giving to us, we'll key into it. We have it IT-wise, timeline. That thing keeps giving you an update every day. You are seeing it, I'm saying it. What's the reason for your failure? You should be able to explain. Is it justifiable? Yes. If it's not, then can you please, we have other people who have given the commitment to do that. But I'm not seeing that in place. So people are coming up with some of the failures of past administration, adding on it that they will reverse, they will redo, they will bring down, they will bring up. Is there a system to check those people given those promises that in the next 1 year, 100, like we have some people telling you 100 days in office, this is what you have done. It is not what you have done. What did you actually mention to us that you are going to achieve the first 100 days? What have you achieved? This is why we said until we take the political system, governance of this nation, as if you are running a private system. I'm sure you know if an MD is engaged today, before his engagement, he will make some certain promises. If I decide to engage Oga Mike and I set up, I say, come and be the chief executive of this station, definitely you will tell us some of the things that you intend to do. And as a private sector, we key in the timeline. Within the next 3 months, I'm going to increase the revenue via commercial to this rate. The next 3 months, I'm going to do this. And the stakeholders, the investors are watching. You yourself, you are looking at it. If there is reason for failure, where there might be extension for those reasons, you make provision for it and you explain. If it's welcome, justifiable by us that engage your service, don't forget, we the electorate are empowered to engage the service of this politician. But when we engage them, do we ask questions? The answer is no. So they come with excuses and they rub it on our face, and 4 years will pass and will remain the same way. The next person coming the next 4 years will not come on the failure. They said they could not do this. They said they could not do it. I have promised myself, I will build refinery. I will develop the street. I will pay you school. I will do this. And 4 years will come, that promises will not be achieved and nobody will ask questions. But in developed climes, you see it. Everybody give the projection. And that's why I will go in line with what my friend Elemo said. Does CBN have that mechanism to show to us today how much they have actually disbursed to each bank? There is a tracker that tells us what you are paying out on daily basis. So that we'll be able to know that, okay, I gave you 1 billion to XYZ Bank. From what we can see, the report from, because there are reports, all these reports are there. It's just that we don't harmonize them and annex them. From your ATM report across your branches, which we expect that by now you should be dispensing out new notes, we discovered that out of the 1 billion, you can only disburse 500 million. Where is the remaining 500 million?
Right.
Where has it gone into? Nobody is asking questions. And if we continue like that, we always build everything around an individual. And I ask myself, it's good. An individual will come and give us all the promises. What of if he could not manage himself to see the last of it? We are not thinking that anybody should. You heard this in the dailies, the gubernatorial aspirants for PDP. You know, it's out there and it's normal. You can only think of today. You can't think of tomorrow. But if there's a system that checks the activity, even when you are bringing in another person, it keys into the system to say these are the promises that this person has given. This is where he has attained to. This is what is left for you to cover up. If you're able to close that gap earlier, we have other things that we can venture into. So for me, it's same of the same. We are going to vote, but until we have a system that works, that even the presidential candidates that we have now, when they become president, they can decide to even be sleeping. You know, when you look at the stock exchange market, who infuse it? You see the market floating here and there. And at the end of the day, they say, this is the gainer, this is the loser. Nobody is doing, everybody is trading. So let's have a system where we can all monitor. Thank God for technology that is rolling out now. Let's infuse it into the system and we'll make things work. As we are, the level at which the country is going is really not too encouraging. We must be candid. Average Nigerians are going through hardship. We know it's a global crisis, but people are living here to Japa, and they are still telling you that at least, even though I'm going to work myself out, there are certain infrastructure. The system in that plate works, checks. We find it difficult to even collect taxes. We'll be running after people, saying come and pay tax. In the same client, I have idea of what you generate. The FIRS or whatever you call it, the state internal revenue, you don't need to go. I have access to your account. As those money are coming in with the right description, I know the one that are taxable, the one that are not taxable. At the end of the year or at the end of the quarter, you are not the one to tell me that this is what it is. I bring the liability to you, and every evidence is shown that you can't contest it. Do you have such system working? These are some of the problems. So when we have strong system and institution working, even some of the policy by CBN governor, we will checkmate it. By now, we should be rolling out statistics that CBN will give to us that to support that we are not going back. These are the facts, not the sensitization we are saying in the market. No, you should be able to give us figure. We printed 500 billion. We've disbursed out 300 billion. This is how it was disbursed. From the report that we gather from the bank, these are how much has been expended or exchanged or collected by individual. This is so much that we've collected of the old currency. Then you see it work. Not individual coming to tell us. Tunde Elemo has traveled. Same thing I said here in Lagos, very close to your station, not too far from it. I'm complaining. Tunde Elemo is complaining in Ibadan. Same in Ondo, same in Ekiti. We can't all be lying. Why do you want to go against the growth of our nation? No, it's not possible. Right. So we need a system that works, not individual giving us those promises. So when you come in, we help you log in those promises. I will look at the timeline. You are not doing it. We don't need to announce to you. Just like Liz Truss said, and the other woman from Netherlands, it will tell you that my people, of a truth I promise. But I can see on the scorecard, please ease me and look for someone else to do it better.
Let's get Segun's perspective now to this matter. You are saying that we should look at extending by 3 months or 6 months?
90 days.
90 days or so. What would that even change? Do you think Nigerians actually trust the system? Especially, we have a situation where we have a lot of Nigerians who are unbanked. Yes, the CBN has come out to say that there is going to be a program of swapping the old notes for the new notes, but then would that really change anything?
Well, I think if it's about extending the timeline, whether that will change anything at all, I think it will. I think that the system is currently unstable, and it will even get further unstable as we move closer to the elections. You see, everybody is camping here and there. Our politicians want to win their elections. And honestly speaking, if you ask me, if not for the activities or the pre-policy activities of the Apex Bank, driven by the governor himself, I don't think we will be in this kind of situation. Perhaps even if we are going to be here, and I will explain further, if we are going to be here, maybe with less, agitation and reactions. What I'm saying is that, you see, you saw the CBN governor, they were campaigning for him during the primaries of one of the political parties, and they wanted him to be the candidate of that political party. And there was massive campaign, and people were even wondering where did these people get the kind of money they were spending from. I know, and you recall that many times the CBN governor called the bluff of all the critics at the time. Fast forward, he didn't get the ticket of that same political party, and then just right after that came up with this policy. You see, ordinarily, there wouldn't have been any biased interpretation to that policy step.
Right.
But given the pre-policy activities of the CBN government, perhaps not directly, but by proxy, you would see that politicians definitely will read meanings to whatever step that the Apex Bank takes further down. And that is why institutions really must be insulated from politics and manipulations.
Right.
You see, if the CBN had started implementing this policy since January 2022, we would have had 12 months, to do this. So I think definitely extending it will create a window for better stability and access to the new notes.
All right. We must thank you, Olusegun Lemo, policy analyst, for your time on the program. And we must also thank you, Olusegun Kwade, for coming on the program as well.